Good evening, guys. Welcome back to another episode on M&M Beyond Words. And today on this podcast, we are here with the best, or among the best graduates from the University of the Gambia. And this episode is sponsored by Alchemy Restaurant that we are in and today.
Good evening, guys. Welcome back to another episode here on M&M Beyond Words. And yeah, you guys are also welcome as well. Welcome to our platform.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And then this is a happy moment. And then we look forward to a more interesting insight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We are really happy to be part of this session and we hope to learn more
Yeah,
from you.
exactly.
Thank you.
And we will learn more from you guys actually along the way. And since we also want to actually be in the University of the Gambia,
Wow, that's great.
and we are here with Mr. Lamin Sane,
Yeah.
also known as General.
General, yes.
And I think there's a lot to be
Yeah.
learned from you today, and the things that you've actually been on to at
Absolutely.
uni, and
Absolutely.
also before uni, and also the life that surrounds university,
Absolutely.
and then the things that you've been able to put through. And then we are also here with Mami S. Njai, and who is also an agronomist, or we can say a crop scientist at the University of the Gambia. She is also graduated with flying colors, and also she's into agriculture as well. Not only about on paper, but also on practical. And we would also like you guys to formally introduce yourself to our audiences.
Yeah, like I said, it's a pleasure to be here. And first of all, I am Lamin El Sane, commonly known as General in the University of the Gambia, as many students know me. Yeah, I'm a social scientist, and then my major is development studies. That's what I graduated in after completion of my studies with a very distinctive, educational academic record in cum laude. And then I came here today to have this session with all of you to be able to have a very productive conversation because I am someone who like to share ideas and also like to learn from colleagues. And then because that is the only way we can be able to, move this country forward, for us to share insight, for us to do the needfuls, and then maybe learn from one another. Yeah, two heads are always better than one. Yeah.
And to you, Mami.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Mami Esinjan. I'm from Kiang, originally now a graduate from the University of the Gambia. I studied agricultural sciences and part of environmental science. And I'm also the current national youth parliamentarian for Kiang West constituency. It's indeed a pleasure to be part of this gathering because, like I said, it's a learning point, and also, like you said, I'm also somebody who like to share ideas and also like to learn from others. Yeah, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here.
And thank you too for actually honoring the invitation. And thank you too for honoring the invitation.
You're welcome, my brother. We're
And
always
then,
together. Yeah.
yeah. So me and my partner here will be here today on M&M Beyond Words, actually trying to learn more from what you're joining.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be a learning point for others, where others also look up to. So you,
I mean, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on our platform. And the goal of the platform is to be doing stuff like this, doing things like this, to make sure that we meet with different people, learn from each other, and try to share as much information as possible
Right.
to make sure that our country, the Gambia, moves forward. Because we believe that awareness is very, very crucial. And
Absolutely.
in whatever that you're doing, as long as you're doing something that the public is going to learn from, a thing or two is actually a good thing. So it's
Absolutely.
an absolute honor to have you guys on our platform today, and I think we can kick it off.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I will go first with asking Mr. Lanin Sane.
Yeah.
On your bio, that when you've asked this question, you've described yourself as someone from a humble beginning who carried many responsibilities from a young age. How did those early struggles shape your mindset and ambition?
Yeah, those early struggle definitely shaped my mindset and my ambition because from that very early age, I realized that I have so much responsibility that I have to face because that is what the reality of life is all about. I'm the firstborn, like I told you. My parents were not lucky to, go to, this to go to school. I would put it that way. My mom and my dad never have the opportunity that is accorded to me, to have access to formal education. And to me, that alone shows that, I need to double up my gym to
Definitely.
be able to be more impactful, to be able to at least give them a return that is gonna make them, happy. You understand?
Yeah.
So I realized that, being the firstborn and also being the, the breadwinner, I have so much on my plate, and I definitely need to work on myself, because I realized that if something needs to be done, I don't need to wait. I have
Yeah.
to prepare myself for it. You understand? To at least, prepare myself to have that survival mindset, but also being very ambitious. That poverty can be a starting line,
Yeah.
but then it cannot be the ending line. You understand?
Yeah.
So for us to change the narrative, or for us to set the bar high, that our parents were struggling, we must have a sense of direction, because that is very, very important.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that is the wish for every parent, whatever that they don't achieve in life, but then they will want to have, kids that will at least have that. Just like myself and my father, with 4 kids and another wife, I would not want my kids to, come and then struggle just like I have gone through. So meaning I have so much on me that I need to face, and then I need to work on a lot of things, because this is what really makes us to have a lasting legacy. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And that is something that every young person that is coming up with something or
Absolutely.
trying to achieve something in life would actually look up to when they actually find out this information about you, and you being a father and also being a firstborn from a family of a humble beginning. From a family of a humble beginning,
Mm.
and so the second question is being the first and only degree holder in your family is a major milestone.
Absolutely.
And what emotions did you feel when you finally graduated with a cum laude distinction?
Yeah, to graduate with cum laude, is an achievement
Mm.
that, is very good. Absolutely, for me, it comes with mixed emotion.
Mm.
You understand?
Yeah.
In as much as I am very pleased and I'm very much grateful for what I was able to achieve in my academic journey, but it also comes with mixed emotion. You understand?
Mm.
Because imagine the struggle, all the late nights, and then losing my job along the process. And then there are a lot of people out there that don't support this journey, because being a father of four and at the same time a husband, they feel like, that was not the right decision one can ever make to go to school. So this was a dream that was not supported by the very people that I normally look up to
Yeah.
get support from. So that was so challenging. And then because I am not somebody who always have what they call I can mentality.
Yeah.
If people can have something, or if they can do or succeeded in
Yeah.
doing certain things, I don't allow myself to have a limitless. You understand? Like I
Yeah.
don't limit myself,
Self-hate.
because I believe that every human being, we all have limitless potentials. You understand?
Yeah.
So it is up to us, to do what is needed to put in the basic fundamental to be able to go far in life. You understand?
Yeah.
But then, the reason why it comes with mixed emotion, I know this is something that I'm destined for. I know this is my passion and this is something that I love. So all I need to put in is effort. You know, because effort
Yeah.
really matters a lot.
Yeah.
And that is why, despite all the challenges that comes along the way, despite being a father and at the same time being a husband, being the first son to my parents, also losing my job, I feel like, I need to do a lot. You understand? But
Yeah.
then also the journey was not easy. It was more like a roller coaster ride. You understand
Yeah.
what I mean? So that is why, I just stay focused. I prepare myself for a journey like this to ensure that at least I come out with something.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But then
Yeah.
it was never an easy.
Easy battle.
But to be honest with you, gratitude is the word. I thank God, because without God, I wouldn't be able to achieve this academic scores. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a wonderful answer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very wonderful answer,
Thank you so much.
and your journey is quite inspiring as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, hopefully, I'm sure so many people would definitely look up to you.
Absolutely.
And congratulations for your achievement.
Thank you so
And
much.
now to you, Mami Esinjai. Growing up in Kulikunda, Kia, how did your environment and upbringing influence your passion for agriculture?
Yeah. Thank you so much once again. Thank you for inviting me to this particular media platform. I'm very happy. I came from Kiang, like I said, in a village called Kulukunda.
Right.
You all know how life is, how provincial life is.
Right.
Sometimes it's very hard for us to go to school.
Right.
Not about finance sometimes, but it's about the stereotypes that
Yeah.
we receive most
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
So it has not been an easy journey, to be honest, because by looking at me, my exit, we are just few, maybe 3 or 4
Right.
that has maintained to go to school.
Right.
There are so many stereotypes, like you go, once you finish grade 12, instead of you pursuing, it will be like, why don't you try to get married, or you do something before, why don't you try to get married? I think it's the most, that's the most important thing. Of course, it's the most important, it's the most important thing, that we have to do it. But like, those are things that will limit our potential.
That's
You
right.
need to get married, or you don't need to compete with men, because most of the times they think that is also something. So those are barriers that we really face during our school time. But to be honest, I am from a very understanding family
Right.
that allowed me to go to school. I went to school in Kiam from grade 1 to grade 12.
Right.
It means I am born and raised in the village. So you know how tedious that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have this zeal in me that I want to become a degree holder.
Yeah.
During those days, in senior school, when I used to come to Faraba for holiday at my auntie's side,
Right.
anytime I'm in Faraba, I make sure I visit the University of the Gambia before the new building. Then it was a whole building.
Right.
So they'll be like, why are you visiting this university? You are very far to be here. I was like, yes, it's my dream to be here one day. So upon my completion at the senior school, I could not have requirement because of mathematics and English language. Then I decided to go to Gambia College. And in fact, it was my dream to go to collect them before UTG, because this is agriculture. We need to have a basic knowledge.
Yeah.
And I went to school of agriculture and then learned for 4 years and then moved to University of Gambia. Though it was so challenging, but Alhamdulillah, here's where I am.
Yeah.
My family did not, disturb me to that extent. Like, you have to go to, for example, my father has never told me, go and get married. You need to get married. There's time.
Yeah.
Because in the village, we all know, usually when you hit 20, like, the only thing that they
marriage.
think about is
Marriage.
marriage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but congratulations to my father for never ever disturb me to, being in this situation.
Yeah.
So I can say I'm a lucky guy.
Yeah.
From my parents.
Definitely, you had a supportive family,
Yeah, I have a very
and that's
supportive
the most important thing.
Yeah. I have to say, your story is quite, I think so many people can relate to this.
Absolutely.
Because in rural Gambia, we have so many people that have like huge potential, but then they come from families that don't see that, and they try to deprive them of the things that they want. So it's amazing to see that you know what you wanted from the start, and you went for it, and Alhamdulillah, you're here now. So that's great, really good to know. And the next question is that you mentioned that your grandfather inspired your agricultural journey. What lessons did you learn from him that still guide you till to this day?
Thank you so much. Like I said, my grandfather used one of the biggest and of course one of the best farmers in Kia. Not even in my village, but in
Yeah,
Kia.
that's
He's
quite a
very
milestone.
hardworking. Though when he was alive, I may not be able to explain exactly all his lifestyle, because he has always been in the bush.
Yeah, right.
From morning to evening, he is always,
Yeah,
dressed in a dark cloth. Like, for example, like a farmer that he has
yeah,
been up and he has planted a lot of trees, that still now people are benefiting from it, like mangoes, oranges, and all those stuff. So among the moral lessons I learned from him is patience, resilience, hard work, and connection to nature, because we live with nature. He deals directly with nature.
Absolutely.
That is the crops, the plants, the animals. So those are a few moral lessons that I learned from him. May he soul rest in peace. Allah will not depart from us.
yeah. I mean,
That's a very beautiful story and a beautiful journey. And may your granddad's soul rest in perfect peace.
Absolutely.
And it's good to know that you've learned from him and you've seen what he was doing, and let's say you are just continuing his legacy. And I honestly wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
and through your bio, and then you've mentioned Your battle with gastritis forced you to pause many dreams at one point.
Yeah.
And during those difficult years, what kept your hope alive?
Yeah, this was a very tough moment. You just, it was not, it's so easy. It was definitely, you know, very challenging, I can say, because the moment I was diagnosed with gastritis,
Mm.
that was like the inflammation of the stomach lining.
Mm.
I started having the stomach complication. Man, with stomach,
Yeah.
it comes in so many people have so many stereotypes when
Mm.
it comes to stomach pain.
Yeah.
They're like, this is not good for men and all of those things.
Right.
So that really brought so much fear into my life. And then at some point, I had to put everything on hold just to fight for my health. You understand?
Mm.
Because this was a moment that I was not even with my parents because I am that person who spend more time away than with my own family because ever since I was young, this is my dream. I want to go to school. I want to finish school. I want to have very good academic scores, and I
Mm.
want to be very influential in the society. I wanted to be part of the change makers. You understand? That
Mm.
was the dream that I have, and I was slowly working towards that dream. But then Allah or God also had His
This
plans. You
plans for you.
understand?
Yeah.
We plan, but then He decides,
Designs.
and
Yeah.
then along the line, like I said, I was not with the family. I was very lucky enough to at
Mm.
least have a family. They are become a Misra here, Gianna Kunda. You understand? There's a
Mm.
man there called Maudit Gianna. He really tried so much, during my educational journey because my parents cannot afford my
Oh.
school. And then being the only son, being the only child of my parents who has a dream to achieve, education, all
Mm.
of my siblings could not continue simply because of, financial
Finances. Yeah.
constraint. But he took it upon himself to be there for me. So while I was, going to school, though I have a dream, but 2014, I had this problem of stomach issue, you understand, gastritis, so everything has to be put on hold.
Mm.
So that really, really, really gave me a very, very tough moment.
Mm.
Honestly, it was indeed not an easy journey. So you understand.
Yeah.
So, but along the line, what keeps me strong, what keeps me moving is my faith.
Yeah.
You understand? Because that was the moment I realized that, faith alone is not enough, but
Mm.
I have to do what is right.
Mm.
I try to make sure I get the right medication. And
Mm.
then that was where I learned that, like sickness is part of life.
Love.
We
Yeah.
have to accept it.
That's
The
right.
most important thing is do what is needed because there's a solution to every problem.
Yeah.
I believe in God, but I also take the right medications.
Mm.
I try to move with the right people. They give me very good advice that
Yeah.
the downfall of a man is not the end of your life. If you
That,
have a dream,
Yeah.
even though everything is on hold right now, you will come back better. You must come back to your 100%
Mm.
better. And then that has given me so much motivation.
Mm.
For me, having the right people by my side, having the right family, those that really believe in me,
Mm.
were there for me, and that has served as a learning point for me. And then from that, that has changed a lot of things, the way I see or perceive life. So I can say that sickness was a blessing
Was
for
a
me.
blessing for you.
It was not a punishment, it
Mm.
was not a torture,
Mm.
but a blessing for me to be able to know what needs to be done
Mm.
because it's like I have still unfinished business,
Unfinished
and
business.
that's
Yeah.
why I'm given the second chance to leave.
Yeah. And that
But it
it
was,
reshaped you.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, into the person you are today.
absolutely, so I could not be more
Yeah.
grateful. I thank God for that sickness, alhamdulillah. Yeah.
And then so yeah, you were saying that in your healing journey,
Mhm.
or that reshaped and rebuilt you mentally and spiritually. How did that experience transform your understanding of life?
Absolutely, that was a wake up call for me
Mm.
because not everybody have the opportunity to get sick and then be healed completely from it. So
Yeah.
many people pass away. I'm not better than them.
Yeah.
So that has reshaped my understanding of life. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I used to think that life is all about chasing big dreams. You understand?
Mm.
Making monies. Chasing fancy cars on living
right.
a luxurious life.
Yeah.
Then actually what I learned from that was, this life that we are in fact living is borrowed. It can be taken anytime
Anytime. Yeah.
because those that went, we are not better than them.
That's right.
And then we are not here simply because we or we deserve to be here. Everything is on God's plan. You understand?
Yeah.
So that has really received my understanding of life.
Mm.
It's about us. We have a purpose. There's a purpose for our existence.
Mm.
So it's a wake up call, and that really helped me to better understand what life is all about and what we should prepare. You understand?
Yeah.
So for me, it really gave me a very positive, mindset and a vision towards this entire life.
That's
That's why I
something.
said one of the biggest blessings
Blessings.
ever in my life was the moment that God afflicted me with this kind of pain, because there are many points in time that I would in fact inform so many of my colleagues close I'm going to die, because of how I feel.
How you feel?
Because over many years, from 2014 to 2017, So I had to leave this country to move all the way to Guinea-Bissau for treatment, because I visited most of the major hospitals here in the Gambia, but then it was so challenging. So I have to leave. And then being in Bissau also, language barrier, I cannot speak Creole, I cannot speak Manjago and all of that. So I had to stay there, After 5 months, I was able to speak Creole just to communicate with them. I did not went to that country to have fun. I went there for medication.
Yeah.
And then I came back, I said to myself, what doesn't kill you always makes you stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I become the general. You understand?
Yeah.
So that was it.
I mean,
It was sort of, and now that I sometimes, it's just so funny when I think like how I have overcome. You know what I
all
mean?
of that.
Because I feel 100% okay in my stomach. I eat everything. Nothing disturbs me. Everything is intact.
Yeah.
So for me, I thank God. Yeah,
I mean, sometimes it's important for you to have a wake up call.
Absolutely, it's very,
Sometimes
very
you'll be
nice.
sleeping for a very long time, but something comes to you and you have to rethink about your decisions, about the things that you've been doing, like your life in general.
Absolutely.
So I mean, like you said, general. So your life in general. So it's actually something.
Sometimes people see these smiles, but they don't know the pain
The pain
behind. You
behind the
know what I mean?
smiles.
And some of the struggle that we went through is not because God doesn't like us. That pain is there to stretch and reshape us to become the best version of
Of
ourselves.
ourselves. Right.
So that's why I said it was one of the biggest moments that I'll be forever grateful to, because for me, it's a blessing. It is not a punishment. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, from what you've said, it's looking at your story.
Yeah.
I can say that it's God's plan.
Absolutely, man.
You had to go through that to be here today.
Absolutely, man.
And I'm honestly very happy that you're well today and doing absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Right. So to mommy, yeah, in rural Gambia, agriculture is seen as the backbone of so many communities in rural Gambia. What does agriculture personally mean to you beyond the academics and profession?
Thank you so much. Just like you said,
Yeah.
not even about rural Gambian, as well, it's just, I usually tell people, agriculture is not even the backbone of every nation. To me, I think it's the oxygen.
Yeah.
Because without a backbone, like you can manage, but oxygen you cannot go without it.
That's right.
We are all here because we have eaten well and
Yeah.
drink good water and we are
Yeah,
here.
definitely.
That's
So
right.
to me, beyond academic and professional, agriculture means life to me.
Okay.
To me, it is life.
Yeah.
Because we all know you may just need a doctor, maybe once in 2 years, and maybe once in 1 year, once in every year.
Yeah.
We may not even need lawyer.
Yeah.
We may not need we may need teachers maybe once in every day.
Yeah.
But you need farmers every day, 3 times in a day.
Yeah.
You need them. You need them.
Yeah.
So it's life. To me, it's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually true, because like you said, we need food on our table
Absolutely.
on a daily basis, and the farmers are absolutely behind that. So
Yeah, a typical example was during the time of lockdown.
yeah,
Everywhere was asked to lockdown.
Yeah.
But farmers were never locked down.
No.
yeah,
They were never locked down. They were the ones serving people,
Serving people, yeah.
all
Definitely.
those
I
things.
mean,
So that means it is life. It is
No,
just
yeah.
life. Yeah.
yeah. And I realized that, like, in the Gambia here, I feel like I honestly feel like people don't really understand what agriculture is all about. Sometimes when we see these farmers, majority of us, not everybody, we just categorize farmers as just like, okay, these are just poor people and stuff like that. But we don't understand that we need these farmers on a daily basis for so many things. Because without the farmers, there will be no food in the tummy,
Totally, yeah.
and that's actually absolutely bad. So we would proceed during your years at college and university. Yeah, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced as a young woman pursuing agriculture?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenge I faced during my studies at both college and youth at UTG
Yeah.
is the concept behind my discipline. That's the concept behind my field of study.
Yeah.
Because they think agriculture is for poor.
Yeah.
Yes. Me and my friends, many will be like, we thought you could have studied, law.
Yeah.
We thought you were going to school for education. Why do you choose to be a farmer?
Yeah.
I told them, wait, you will understand.
Yeah.
And to be honest, now they're really understanding.
Yeah.
Yes, I made them believe that. In fact, if you go to well-developed countries,
Yeah.
poor people cannot venture into agriculture. Even in this country now, when you're very poor, you cannot venture into agriculture. It's for rich.
Yeah.
So, but like, that's the concept they have.
Misconception.
Those are challenges I have been facing, particularly with friends. You know, when your friends are slave queens,
Yeah.
they be like, you live,
Yeah.
you dealing with that.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, I usually tell them, and I will grow, and I will feed you.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Another challenge that I have faced is when come to practical session.
Okay.
For colleague, I may say it is better because we all know agriculture is 75% practical and 25% theory. By right, that is how it should be.
That's true.
Because it should be you need to have hands on ground, information. Like you should be well practically informed.
Yeah.
But by looking at our country,
Mhm.
I can say we are limited to such, facilities.
Right.
We are not even lucky to have a correct lab in
Yeah.
this country where you can test your soil
Yeah.
and give you a very correct information.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, we should be able to know very well,
Yeah.
on how to make these organic fertilizers and these organic, let's say, organic pesticides.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
Those are basic things that we should be able. And alhamdulillah, we know that. But like how we wanted it, we were not able to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were no, well standard irrigation, system whereby students from agriculture will be going there to be learning new practices.
Yeah.
So that tomorrow we can, those are things that we are lacking.
Yeah.
I will not say they were lacking, but they were insufficient.
Yeah. They were
At college, we usually go to raspberry farm, my farm, but those are more or less like field trips.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks to college also, they also, let's say expose us to, let's say, attachment.
Yeah.
Like during your final year at college, you will be posted to different agri centers.
Yeah.
Where but that is not enough.
Yeah. That's not enough.
We need to have, some of these things in school. We need to have our own labs. We need to have all those things where we be able to know all those things.
Yeah.
So you take the same thing.
Yeah.
I can say we are not exposed to certain practical, learning. But myself,
Yeah.
I don't wait to be given the amenity, or I don't wait to be given the opportunity to go.
Mhm.
I've been visiting a lot of private farms in this country.
Right.
I've been, doing a lot of practical activities from my village, everywhere, particularly when it is time for rainy season.
Right.
Because I'm someone that I have the dream that immediately after my, completion at the University of Gambia, I want to have hectares of land at the village where I can start something.
Yeah.
But I know that is a bit challenging because support, is definitely insufficient. I will not say it's lacking, but definitely we need support to do that.
Yeah.
I always tell people that when you study agriculture, yes, you can work with government towards the development of agricultural sectors in that country. But come on, I always have this feeling that we need to have if I studied agriculture and I have my big land at my village, you did the same thing and you did the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
We are going to, fight against food self-sufficiency.
Right.
So these are my dreams, and this is what I want to do. I want to have my own big private farm where I can also invite college and university students to be coming there for practical time to time, and where I can also involve youths to be, working there to reduce the rate of unemployment in this country, and
Right.
to also, increase the belief of agriculture to people. Okay.
Absolutely. I love your mindset. I'll just start from I'll quote from your first answer. The fact that your friends were we all have friends that like discourage us to do certain things. And you need a solid mindset to go for the things that you want. So the fact that you were able to not like put a deaf ear to that and go exactly for what you want, that's absolutely amazing. And so many people should be doing the same. You shouldn't let people discourage you to not doing the things that you love or the things that you have passion for.
Yeah.
And also you talking about we not having insufficient labs. There's absolutely no lab in the country. I think we need that in the country.
Absolutely.
And the government of the Gambia or even private sectors should start working on that to help people like you realize your dreams. Because I feel like if you guys have everything that you need, the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So many people would have given up,
Absolutely.
and then it's like when people try to actually discourage you what in certain things, people will be like,
Yeah.
since somebody is like, nah, this is not for ladies, or this is this and that. And if you, like he said, if you don't have a solid mind,
Absolutely.
you will definitely give up. But then it has to do with your passion about something that makes you venture into it, no matter what happens. Even this guy has a breakdown and a fall, you still would want to be where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Even though your life has to end there, but you would want to actually, put so much effort into it.
Right.
And then when you've mentioned about losing your job here not long ago, many people would have given up after losing their jobs, while studying at the university. But what gave you courage to continue despite the pressure of providing for your family?
This is a very, very important question because, like you have said, so many people will give up on their dreams or what they believe in once some certain challenges or impediments started coming into their lives. You understand? But it is not to break us, it is to make us even stronger. You know what I mean? It was quite very challenging, But then, like I said, no human being is perfect, but I'm a person of faith. I have strong belief in God. Strongly believe in God, man. I know that we are all destined to go through so many things. So it's about accepting the reality for how it is, and then while you try to find a way out. Like I said, there must always be a way out.
Yeah.
One of the quotes says, necessity is the mother of invention. When something needs to be done or must be done, there should be ways and means of doing it. Already, my mindset and my vision was greater than the loss that I had to go through simply because I need to put food on the table. Yes, my kids were depending on me, my mom, my family, my siblings, and being the breadwinner. So, and my wife as well. So, giving up is not even an option for me. You understand? I can lose my job, but that does not mean that I'm losing my life.
Yeah.
When one door closed, another door opens. It's about having a direction. It's about having a belief. You understand? But then I realized that I have so many mouths to feed, and I also have parents to provide, and I also have siblings that are looking up to me. So I cannot be weak enough to show them that what, I cannot do this, because that is not gonna encourage them, but rather it will discourage them.
Yeah.
So life is about being resilient. You know what I mean? I know that it is tough. I know, I absolutely know, because the moment I got married, I signed up for it. It is my now ultimate responsibility to provide not just only for my wife but for my kids. So if I have to think of giving up, how will those people go through? So that was kind of a drive that keeps me pushing. Imagine if I can survive a sickness that many people could not. How about comparing losing a job to that?
Yeah.
So you see where some of us will choose never to give up, even if it means we are going to die there. You understand? Because life tested you in so many ways. You did not give up. Losing a job doesn't mean that it's the end of your life. You understand?
That's true.
Because
very
imagine I can have a job or better ones. Because the reason how I in fact lost that job, it's so disheartening. Because I have a future, I have a dream. I was working as a pump attendant, you know, at one of the petrol stations here in the country. I don't want to mention the name, but then could you imagine, like every company or every organization will want to have potentials that will succeed those that are in charge. You understand what they call succession planning. You understand when you have people that have the potential and they have a vision that really align with the execution of those jobs that your company or your organization offer. Please, this is a message to them. Don't discourage them. Find ways to empower them. Find way to make them believe that their future still align with your company's service. You understand? Support them, but do not discourage them. So my case was like, it was so challenging because I was told that my to decide going to university was a personal choice, and then the company have no responsibility over that. But if I cannot stay and work for full time, that is a loss for them. And they don't, my decision is my own choice, but they don't want to run at a loss because they cannot pay me while I am on studies. So they need people that can work for them full time. So, and then they give me two options, either to work with them and then leave my studies, or continue with my studies and give chance to those that want to work on full time. So for me, being a father, being a son, and being the eldest son, the eldest sibling, I have so many responsibilities. So it was so challenging for me to take a decision or make a decision. And at the end of the day, they just have to show me the exit door. So I got sacked not because I want to be sacked, but because I have a dream. Maybe who knows, when they retain me in that company or in that organization, I can move from being a pump attendant to become one of those, positive decision makers that can still give or add more life to what they are providing for the community. You understand?
Yeah.
Because how I was thinking was way beyond than supplying diesel or petrols into the cars,
Yeah.
but more like, what policies or what can we do to make this company grow, to grow. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like the support was lacking. So giving up,
Yeah.
to get sacked from that doesn't mean that I have to also put myself in a situation whereby it's going to affect my academic journey. In fact, that motivated me,
Yeah.
because fear of failing was not an issue here.
Yeah.
But to fail my family, was the biggest thing, because I never want to fail my family.
Yeah.
So that was what kept me going. And as long as being very faithful to believe in God. Yeah. Thank you so much for that question.
That's quite a motivating and ambitious answer that you've given right now.
Absolutely not.
An entire balance between pursuing your dreams at the University of the Gambia and also balancing it with that work, and then not only balancing, but you have two things on the table for you, and one is to cancel your dreams in pursuing your degree, and one of them is to continue working as a full-time worker at the pump station, the petrol station. And then when you look at the two, I mean, education consumes time, but in the long run, it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
So maybe what you might be earning at that moment, and now when you are educated, you have like scale, the big difference on your salary scale, the pay scale, because you are more educated, you have papers to prove it, and which is actually very resilient. And as a husband, father of four, a student, and a breadwinner, how did you manage the emotional weight of balancing all these responsibilities?
Yeah, the emotional weight is too much, to tell you the truth. It's not tough, So I have to really program myself for it. Because since I signed up to this, like they said, as you made your bed, you must be ready to lie on it.
Definitely.
I was not forced to go to university. It comes as a person. I have a dream, like I said, ever since I was young. I have a dream. And then, like I said, I'm that person. I'm not perfect, but I have the I can mentality. That if people can do this, I can do this too. You understand? So ever since I was young, I have a dream. So I know, because I already, like they said, don't follow the crowd, have a direction.
Yeah.
Right.
In as much as, there are a lot of responsibility that I need to face, because nobody's going to do those works for me. I have to face them, but I have to reprogram myself to have a better direction and how to approach all these responsibilities with positive attitude. So when I'm with my wife, I'm a husband. You understand? I play the role of a husband. When I'm with my father, I make sure that they enjoy that fatherhood that comes with being a father to them. I don't want them to live a life where they will be missing that fatherly love. You understand?
Yeah.
I am all available for them, because I am somebody that they look up to, and you know how it is. Every child will want to be very close and very nice, or having very good connection with your father.
Right.
And when I'm with my parents also, I try to give them this feeling that yes, I am that son that wanted to continue making you proud. You understand?
Yeah.
And as well as my siblings, I am that brother that you will not make any mistake to look up to. You understand?
Yeah.
So, and then since I choose to also go to uni, whenever I am at university, imagine, thinking all these responsibilities.
Same time.
So I said to myself, I cannot afford to fail here, because I have so many mouths to feed. I have a wife at home. And then, because if I do not provide for my wife, other men will provide for her, and I'll be the same person who will complain, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
So if I have to think about the responsibility that are in my plate, bro, that alone is a motivation for me to know that I'm not here to compete. I'm here to do what is expected, to at least end everything on high.
Right.
And then I make sure I do the needful whenever I am in campus. I always know what brought me here.
Yeah.
And I always push myself to do better.
Yeah.
Because there are times that I'll be crying, but there are times that I'll be very optimistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm a winner in the head.
Yeah.
I don't give up.
Yeah.
I'm that type of a person.
Yeah.
Things can get tough sometimes. Because losing a job. Shout out to those that are in the cafeteria. Because
yeah.
sometimes I go to school with no money in my bag. They will give me free food. Sometimes, it's my boys that will pay fare for me to go to Karaba. But you will never see that in my eye because they kick me out of job. Will I steal it?
No.
And then it's so hard to get job from different places. You know what I'm saying? Especially going to university.
Yeah.
Because this country works on connections. You understand?
Yeah.
So it was so tough and so challenging. But despite that, I said, you know what? If people can graduate with very good academic scores here,
Yeah.
I want my mother and my father to be also proud of me, my siblings, and all those that believe in my dreams. You understand?
Yeah.
So I said I cannot afford to fail those people, so I must put in the effort.
The work.
Yeah, that's why I'm managed to come here. Alhamdulillah.
I mean, I'm quite thrilled about all these things that you've been able to balance, being a father, being a son, being the breadwinner, and uni also. I mean, balancing all of those things.
And then I don't know, so being a student leader also, I was a
Student leader,
student
wow.
leader. I was part of the 20th Executive Council,
Executive.
managing being the Deputy Finance Minister. I was part of those people that will advise the council or take care of the council's fund. Imagine not working, but then I'm still taxed to be responsible when it comes to financial matters.
Yeah.
Come on. I was resilient enough to know that, I have to be focused in order to do everything right.
It's going to be very hard for me or somebody that's listening or watching to actually balance all of these things at the same time.
It's belief, mindset.
And that's quite amazing.
Yeah.
And I hope that every young person,
Mhm.
every ambitious guy that wants to pursue and follow their dreams. I mean, if they look up to this information about you, this journey of yours, it will be, very helpful in the journey, and they will be able to learn a lot from it. And thank you for sharing all these things with
Thank
us.
you, man. As raw as it is.
Yeah, just to add to what my colleague said, hearing what you've just said is quite inspiring because I'm a young man. I'm not married. I don't think I have any responsibilities at this point. So hearing you talk about these things and being able to balance it, because I don't think anybody can balance it. Some people just lose themselves along the way.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely inspiring. Yeah. So just keep doing what you're doing. I'm sure your family is definitely very proud of you.
Yeah.
And I am too, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah. So, Mommy, right? How did your experience working with trees for the future of the Gambia shape your practical understanding of sustainable farming and also environmental responsibility?
Come again?
Like, how did you experience working with trees, like trees, for the future of the Gambia?
Trees for the future.
Yeah.
It's a project that I work with.
Yeah, that you are working on. So I'm asking, how did you experience working with trees for the future of the Gambia? Shape your practical understanding of sustainable farming and also environmental responsibility.
Yes, just like I said, practical sectors are very limited in this country.
Yeah.
For agri students.
Yeah.
For both college and university.
Yeah.
And that even give me the zeal and the courage to work with Trees for the Future.
Yeah.
Trees for the Future, the Gambia is a non-profit organization in the Gambia.
Okay.
That is based in Sierra South.
Okay.
Now they have moved to Sierra North.
Okay.
I started working with them when I was in my final year at the college.
Yeah.
So this has saved me.
Yeah.
It has definitely widened my practical knowledge in agriculture.
That's true.
Because I am working directly with farmers. I was covering 39 villages in Sierra South.
That must have been hectic.
Yes, in Sierra South. From, let's say from Sahara Fossil, somewhere around Fulabantang, towards Sinchuchan area, that is after Galamanda.
Yeah.
So I was covering, including Galamanda, so I was covering a lot of places and with a lot of farmers, a lot of ideas, because these are different people, different cultures, different tribes. So that has really shaped me, and it has also boost my knowledge in agriculture.
That's
To be
true.
honest, so that has even made academics so easy for me because it's like this is what I've been doing,
Yeah.
and courses like extension work, extension communication.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I did with my late lecturer Babasana. May Allah have mercy on his soul
I mean,
and grant him Jannah Firdaus.
Yeah.
So courses like those like when it's extension communication, that is what I did. That is what I'm doing. So
yeah.
those courses usually are very, very easy with me.
Yeah.
So it's because of my working with this teacher has helped me earn that experience.
That's
And
right.
also it has also helped me understand about our environment and all those things. So it has really helped me in
Yeah, I
my
mean,
academic.
that's amazing. I genuinely believe that when you have or when you're exposed to the practical aspects of any course that you're studying, definitely when you come back to the classroom,
Yeah,
the theory becomes way easier.
definitely.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I understand that going to school, going to university, studying a course, and also balancing that like with practicals and everything. We know that is tough. So, what habits and disciplines help you remain focused and successful, even though you were trying to balance practicals and also going to
Academic.
academics?
Yes, definitely that has also helped me a lot
Yeah.
because that has also molded me into the best version of me.
Right.
Because we often believe that I'm a student. I don't like when we believe when we are students we careless.
Right.
So, but you cannot careless with farmers. These are our parents.
Yeah.
You have to be well moral. So that that has really taught me a lesson.
Yeah.
I was a student and I was also very responsible and I was also very disciplined because these are people that are way older than you.
Yeah.
These are not your students. We are even from teachers.
Yeah.
We are like teachers can beat their students, but we cannot beat our farmers.
No.
Right.
So these are our parents. They are our mothers, our grandfathers, our sisters, our brothers.
Yeah.
So it has helped me to know how to communicate with people.
Yeah.
That is, I don't have to be very harsh, and it has also, improved my social interaction.
Yeah.
So this is why
Wow.
any society that I go to, I am very much social wise. I'm just excellent.
Yeah.
And it has also boosted my discipline level, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I talk with people, and I don't have to be very harsh.
Yeah.
I have to be a very nice person because these are all sort of things that they taught us in school to be able to know how to act on these farmers.
Yeah.
So that has really given me a very, 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 very good morning. So I wasn't only a student. I have been very professional and I'm very professional. Not necessarily like maybe when you say I'm very professional, people like yes, you sit in the office, you wear suits. No. I'm professional in habit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because we understand that when you're meeting these farmers, there are certain type of clothes you don't need to wear it.
Right.
Particularly when you are posted at rural Gambia.
Yeah.
So that is molding you. That is helping you professionally. Like you meeting with farmers, or you have a field day with farmers. You are not expected to put on channel,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
or you are not expected to put on racks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will not even listen to you.
Yeah.
So it has helped me a lot. Dress code, my habits,
Right.
and it has also boosted my experience because I almost all the four corners of this country I know.
Wow.
I've been to all the regions. Every constituency I've been there.
Yeah.
If you go to Sierra not today, you ask me,
Yeah.
you will be surprised. If I go with you around Falabantang towards Makati and those areas, you'll be like, no.
Yeah.
Are you born here? If you go to Kiang, I will not say that's my place.
Yeah.
So wherever I go to, you know me,
You know me.
So
You're known.
that
You're known
has
for your hard work and your
definitely,
resilience. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, being exposed to being exposed as a human being helps you grow.
Absolutely.
yeah.
You wanna grow in life, you need to be exposed.
Right.
So meeting different people is all an addition to
Now,
what you
now,
already have.
now, I all I need is international exposure.
Yeah, man.
You will get there.
Definitely, you're gonna get there.
You
But
will
in
get there.
Gambia, oh my good, yes, I think I'm well exposed in it. I know this country.
No, you're gonna get there.
Yeah, because of my passion for field work. That is agriculture. I never want to be theoretical. I don't want to go to office and be like, "Pra, pra, pra." No, I want to go and be with the farmers.
Be
Want
more
to learn with
practical
them.
with it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, I'm a practical, someone.
Trust me.
Action oriented. So, one of my friends used to call me Balagaba Jam. You all know how action.
Yeah, yeah.
He is. So I believe in that.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Right.
I mean, that's quite amazing. And I
Yeah,
hope
man.
that maybe this podcast probably would actually You
Yeah,
have the people
yeah,
there,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we
yeah.
hope and pray this podcast actually gets to,
Agronomist.
yeah, and then probably you get the international recognition that you need,
So,
and then hopefully you have international contracts as well where you're going to be able
thank
to
you.
learn a lot. And then back to Mr. Lamin Sane, and you've mentioned about in your bio, you've mentioned about losing your sister along the journey,
Yeah, yeah,
and
so
then you know during your journey, in your university journey, how did that painful moment affect your motivation and outlook on life?
how how that pain affected my university journey and my
And then your and life, like life in general, outlook on life and how you seen life, and then
yeah,
along the journey, all these difficult things are on the other
yeah,
side, and then losing your sister along the journey as well.
yeah, man. Like I said, life is full of trials and tribulations. Yeah, in order to have a very meaningful or a fulfilling life, you must go through a lot of challenges, you understand.
Mm.
And one of them was losing my sister at that crucial point in time. Because among my siblings, she's the very one that I'm very much connected with, you know.
Wow.
She's under my care, you know, she lives with me, you know, time to time she will be at my parents' house. Sometimes she will stay at my uncle's house in Salaji. Sometimes she will come to Brikama to live with me and my wife and children, you understand.
Mm.
She's someone who is so dear to me. You understand? Imagine at that point of my life going to university, and then also she also have a dream of going to university. She graduated with 5 credit from high school. You
Yeah.
understand? And all of a sudden, you know, like I said, God is the final say. You
Mm.
know, her intention was to come to uni. You know, but she did not have English language. She have mass credit, but she did not have English. So we were working on, you know, arranging private wards. You understand? And all of a sudden, she got sick, and then we took her to the hospital. And then thanks to some of my UTG friends like Kausu here, Kausu Sedi and Kalilu Show and others, you know, because we were told that, you know, she need blood, you understand,
Yeah.
you know, when she got admitted. So the moment, you know, that information got to our university pages, friends come to donate her blood. You understand what I mean? So the support was absolutely amazing from my colleagues and some of the people that are very close to me because being her elder sister, and then I have assignments to do. I have, and my mom is an hypertension patient. You
Patient.
understand?
Ah.
So she cannot be in the hospital. I have to be at the hospital, you know, while she is on her sick bed. You understand? And then from in the morning I will go to university. Then my younger brother Umar will be left there.
Yeah,
You
that's
understand?
it.
So that was what we were going through. Although the situation continues to get severe, but then
Mm.
you know, efforts alone could have rescued her, but then that is not how you save your loved ones. At the end of the day, God have to decide what He will
Yeah.
do. He is the ultimate Almighty. He decides whatever that He wishes, and whatever that He does is the best.
Yeah.
So, you know, at that point in time, as loved ones, we were there with her trying to see how best we can save her, but unfortunately, it could not happen, and then she has to lose her life. So, to me, that really that really knocked me so badly. You understand?
Mm.
You know, I started going through depressions, you know, understand, and I started questioning everything, you know what I mean? But
Mm.
at the end of the day, you know, loved ones, you cannot bring them back, but
Mm.
you just have to learn how to, you must learn how to live without them.
Mm.
And whenever they come into, you pray for them, you know, as much as you love your siblings, someone created the person.
Definitely.
So he needs her. Maybe her mission on this earth is over.
Mm.
So she needs to be in another place. And I
Mm.
believe she's in a better place now. You understand? So that was quite challenging, to be honest with you. And then I in fact pray that, you know, this my last born Ibrahim, I thought is going to be a
Female.
female so that I can name, you know, her after her, you know, but then that didn't happen. So
Yeah.
I asked my wife to just find anyone that she pleases she can name because my intention was to name the child after her, but it didn't happen. So my wife named the child after her dad, you know. So that was it, you know. But it was tough, you know.
Yeah.
That was the semester that because very, like they could, I'm a social butterfly. Ask her in the
Oh,
university. Everyone knows me, you understand? General everywhere. I'm
yeah,
very open
everywhere.
to people, you understand? So I never want people to know these are the kind of stress or challenges I was carrying all along.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, who do I need to blame? No one. Such is life, man.
Yeah.
And everyone have a story, you understand? But then this was the semester that affected my GPA a little bit because I also want to graduate
That's
as one of the outstanding
so
students.
there.
That was the bar that I set. Even though, you know, even if I could not achieve it, but that was the bar that
You
I
said,
set.
yeah.
So that's why. But imagine also, you know, the GPA that I graduated with summa cum laude is just only 2 point. You understand? Because I was, I was rolling with that peak. But Alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful for what I have here. Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
mean,
I will clear on you. Mhm.
that is
Mhm.
something that actually would affect somebody's whole life.
Absolutely,
I
man.
mean, the other things aside, the being a father, being a being a son,
Mhm.
and also losing a job, uni,
I know.
and then also losing
Mhm.
your loved one
Mhm.
along the journey.
Mhm.
I mean, it would have thrown some people off,
Oh yes, oh
and
yes.
they will not stay on course.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then with all of that happening, you still stayed on course,
So I
and then
push her. That was for her, at
yeah,
least to graduate with something. Because people
yes,
were celebrating me all over the pages, but I was not celebrating myself. I was like, I wish he was alive.
yeah.
If he was with me, that could have been a massive
But
moment.
you've dedicated everything, your hard work,
Yeah,
and then
man.
the degree, the cum laude,
Yeah, man.
you've dedicated all of that to her in her name,
Absolutely.
which is actually something very amazing. And then I hope and pray that she's in a better place, and may
Yeah,
her soul
man.
be,
Yeah.
among the highest of ranks
Amen.
in Jannah.
Amen. Amen.
And the other question is, despite financial hardship and
Mhm.
lack of institutional support,
Mhm.
you still graduated with excellence.
Mhm.
What study habits, values, or personal discipline
Mhm.
helped you succeed academically?
Yeah, being someone who is very much into media, all these days there's a quote that I've come across
Mm.
and was the quote of one of the former Gambian vice president who passed away, Badara Diouf.
Okay.
He says, in order to get things right, you must do the right thing.
Mhm.
If we do the right thing, we will get things right.
Mhm.
You
Right.
understand?
Yeah.
So, despite all this,
Mhm.
I program myself because I have a direction and already I have a dream.
Mhm.
I'm not that type of person who is going and coming without knowing what he is up to.
He's up, yeah.
I already know what I want. It's
Mm.
like I already know. So now the question is, how am I going to get what I want to achieve? Now, that is where I need to lay down structures. That is where I need to have a sense of direction. That is why I need to have plans. So I'm not a night person. I usually
Yeah.
sleep a lot. So in the morning I will study,
Mm.
especially where I live is a very quiet environment, and I'm also not very far from the college. You understand? I did not allow my social life or my interaction with people out there to affect my schedule.
Mm.
Right.
I always go to college, and whenever I'm with myself, I study because now it's between me and what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
So my wife have to move with my children to Lameng, where my parents live. You understand?
Oh,
So I live here alone simply because I have a goal. Because doing all these things sometimes is very challenging. When things get tough, they will go to Lameng,
yeah.
and when
Oh,
things get little bit better, they will
they
come
come
back.
back.
You understand? So at night, I make sure I have enough sleep. For me, I don't joke with that. I must have 7 hours sleep or maybe
Sleep.
6 hours.
Sleep.
You understand?
Mhm.
Because when I have enough sleep, whenever I'm in class, it helps me. But if I don't have enough sleep, it always affects my memory. You
In
understand?
class, yeah.
I don't know what is the problem, but that's how I observe about
Yourself.
myself. Yeah. So I make sure that at night I sleep very well. But from the morning, maybe in the evening or afternoon, I always study.
Sorry.
But I'm not someone who gets stick to the book. I try to understand the concept. You
Mm.
understand? I don't have a competitive mindset. All I do is to make sure to understand the concept. Because I feel like understanding stays longer than cramming or
Yeah.
maybe like on all of those things. So that's how I program it. Anything that I'm reading, I try to get the real life connection with
All
that.
right.
So that's how I program myself. Anything that I approach it with positive attitude, do my things, and then that really helped me a lot. So people ask, how do you achieve that? To me, it is very simple. Just know what you want, do what you need to do. The results will come
Yeah.
effortlessly. Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually very true. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, having a good night's sleep is very, very crucial. Because if you don't,
Yeah.
you're always gonna wake up with brain fogs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, back to money. As someone involved both both in agriculture and youth leadership, how do you see the relationship between food security and also national development?
Come again.
As someone,
Mm-hmm.
you're involved in both agriculture and also youth
Yeah,
leadership.
yeah.
And how do you see the relationship between food security
Mm-hmm.
and national development?
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, I think I always tell this to people.
Yeah.
Nta fo mole no ku.
Okay.
Na ngamira hani dunia fo me kala fa funding cholam.
Honey?
Dunia fo ngabe kala fa funding cholam.
Yeah.
Right.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do the best part of everything at your youthful age.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So being with youth,
Yeah.
can definitely, encourage them
Yeah.
to also participate in the farming activity.
Right.
Thereby, we attain full security.
Yeah.
And I can say this, we are gradually, achieving that
Yeah.
in our constituency as
Right.
KMS.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to KMS, you realize that many youths are into agriculture.
Right.
Go to Sankani.
Right.
If are many, young men that has their own private, small gardens that are also that they are involved into agriculture.
Yeah.
Whereby every end of Monday come to Combo here now
Yeah.
to harvest and then bring their produce here and sell it. So this is also giving me the opportunity to
Right.
advocate to the
Right.
youth,
Right.
both in the side of our animals, that is livestock,
Yeah.
that is through animal welfare advocacy, and also in the side of crop. I encourage them to go back to farm.
Yeah.
Like our former president would say, eat what you grow and grow what you eat.
Right.
And I'm already an example of it. I never spend my holiday in Combo here.
That's right.
And during the rainy season, even I'm going to school, I make so at least it's going to be very difficult to go to camp every week.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's going to be very difficult for a
Student.
low level student like me.
Yeah.
Because going to camp alone is 150.
Yeah.
So 135. So coming back, so it's going to be very difficult to be
Yeah.
going to camp every week.
Yeah.
But I make so when school closed today, that they are not spending it here, I go. So
Right.
that is how the youth believe in me because they are seeing me doing it.
Yeah.
And they are doing it. So that's a hickey level also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
When
mean.
they are well informed
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
are well motivated
Yeah.
by somebody who is doing it hands on ground.
Yeah. I mean, they're just learning from what they see. Because if you are there and you're encouraging the youths that this is what should be done, obviously they're gonna be inspired by what you're doing and honestly follow the right
Yeah.
path.
And in fact, we even created association called Agri Students Association in Kia West.
Okay.
So these are students that are studying agriculture
Right.
in the Gambia, college, University of Gambia. Once you are studying agriculture,
Yeah.
whether you graduated or not, we
Yeah.
add you to that platform.
Yeah.
So we make sure when we have funding,
Yeah.
we usually go to our women gardeners, not only women gardeners, to go to our farmers and share ideas with them.
Yeah.
Because we all know the world has now moved
Right.
from being a subsistence farmer to a commercial farmer.
Right.
So we make sure we definitely put that zeal in them. I know they already have it. So we also make sure and have a dialogue with them.
Yeah.
We say our experience with them, what we have, we give it to them, and what they also have, they give it to us because farmers are very intelligent
Yeah.
and they're very smart. Because these are the people that are doing this daily.
Yeah.
We are learning it in classes, but they
Yeah.
are doing this daily.
Right.
So that is also boosting our knowledge
Absolutely.
or our understanding when
Yeah.
it comes to practical agriculture. Not
Yeah.
long ago,
Yeah.
we visited 3 women gardens in Kiam
Yeah.
and a livestock center in Yorgara because we know when you go to Kiam, Yorgara is a home of livestock.
Definitely.
So we make sure we advocate to them the importance of animal welfare,
Yeah.
because we know these animals are our school fees. I tell people they
Yeah.
are our school fees.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are our ATM.
Yeah.
Once we need something, we just go and bring one animal. So we need to have very good care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. And like in today's society, especially in our country here, we've realized that many young people are moving away from farming. What would you say to encourage youth to see agriculture as a meaningful and also a profitable career path?
Agriculture is a noble profession.
Right.
I always say everybody. If you want to be rich in this country today, try and venture into agriculture. You don't need to wait for help. Start from your backyard. We all have backyard, we all like those living in provinces, even those living here. There are a lot of techniques that we can use.
Yeah.
If I tell you, I don't know whether you'll be surprised. When I was going to college,
Yeah.
most of the times my lunch come from myself, my fare.
Yeah.
Going to college, I was living in Jalamba.
Yeah.
So going to collect and come. Most of these people, because I am somebody who sometimes I feel shy to be telling my parents, give me this, give me that, give me that, give me that.
Right.
Basic thing that they could do is to pay for my tuition fee and all those things.
Yeah.
So these particular things I deem necessary for me also to venture into it.
Yeah.
So I realized that when we are in Jalamba, there was no space. where I can practice agriculture. So I live with a very kind-hearted neighbor that I, communicated with and tell him why not you give me a small piece of land around your area, just opposite to my compound. So I was able to have about 14 beds in that garden. So it's not tedious. It's just a concept. So I go to school in the morning. When I come, I make sure I have one shift in watering. That is, I only work in the evening. So those produces I even send it back to college. Because then I have a very good rapport and very good relationship with the then nutrition minister at the main, Gambia College. So anytime they have luncheon sale, anytime they have programs, and also I built this connection with college vendors. So they usually buy from me. The lack of Cecilia, it was then Cecilia Amigan and those. So when I harvest, it's like there's already market for me. When I harvest and you usually what I grow is lettuce. You don't know how fast growing lettuce is. And lettuce is daily. People need it every time. So I make sure once I harvest, I give to the store. I was earning something, and that has really helped me. So,
You are familiar because I know I am very familiar as well. Because in fact we were in the same school, and even though we might not have that relationship, I used to see you often in college too, because I was also a student at the college. I just graduated last year, in fact.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you so much. So it's amazing to see what you do, and
And then this question, you, Mr. Larin Sane,
Yeah.
you mentioned that connections often seem more valued than qualifications.
Absolutely.
And in your opinion, what changes are needed to create fair opportunities for young graduates in the Gambia?
You mean, in my opinion, what is more needed to create fair balance for the newly graduates?
Yeah. In the Gambia.
Yeah. I think anyone that is listening to this interview, this part is very, very crucial. We live in a country where we need to develop, and for us to develop, we have to take the responsibility for ourselves. We cannot expect, others to come here to do it for us. Like they said, national development plans. This country must have sustainable plans, plans that can allow or enable us to develop. But we can only develop doing the right thing. When we do the right thing in a right way, right results will always come. Will always come. So agencies or government officials or most of the institutions in this country needs to stop operating on family line, giving job to somebody's son, giving job to somebody's daughter because you have that personal affiliations or connection. We should be more concerned when it comes to competence. You understand? Like they said, give the job to its friend, not your friend. Give the job to somebody who can do it better and in a more impactful way than the person that you are very connected to. You understand? At the end of the day, we are not here, to strengthen not just our family, but we are here to leave a lasting legacy. These are legacy that is going to serve as a starting point for the future ones that will come. You understand? So in order to get the things right, like I said, do the right thing. And what is the right thing? There should be what? Enabling the field playing ground has to be smooth for everyone, regardless of your family background. As long as you have the academic credentials, as long as you have the skills and the knowledge required for you to execute the kind of a job that is out there for people to do, it has to be strictly on a balance. It has to be impartial. Impartiality matters a lot because this is where you promote equality. You are not only empowering those that you have family ties with, but then you are empowering every other citizen. That you know what, rule for one, rule for all. This is the job out here, and we can only do this to salvage our country. We can only do this to develop our country. Now, for us to get it right, there will be a fair playing ground for everyone. Let everyone apply.
Yes.
Don't select me because my uncle is having connection with you. Don't give me a job because you know my father. Give him job because he can do it better than I can. Give him job because he is more meant to feel in that position than me. That is why we have a lot of poor governance and many administrative lapses because we are having what they call round hole in square pegs in a round hole. You understand? And when you have wrong people in the right positions, absolutely wrong results will come. So the only advice is we have to be considerate, create that fair chance for everyone, give the right job to the right people,
right people.
then our country will surely achieve the right development. Yeah, when it comes to this, we still find it very challenging. Like I still graduate. I'm not saying this for myself. A lot of people out there don't have the courage to speak about it.
Mm.
Do you know? Until now, I'm struggling to get a job, but I did not sit. I know that I have something in me. God put a little bit of knowledge in me that I can use to make an impact.
Mhm.
In as much as I still don't have a job, but I am on part-time teaching. You understand?
Yeah.
And they made it very clear to me that I can only be given full time if I was able to do what is needed. You understand?
Yeah.
Because somebody resigned from that position and I applied. They said they only need a teacher that can step in for like until the end of this July. So being a family man, I cannot just hold my. In as much as they said, if the like for example, if what you want, your wish become unavailable,
Yeah.
the available has to be the option,
Option. Yeah.
not so.
Mm.
So that is why I went in for this, and I feel very grateful because in as much as the type of job that I want still didn't come on my way, I'm still applying, but I am still using this little opportunity that I have to impact on other people's
Yeah.
life. You understand?
Definitely.
But absolutely, there should be fair balance for
Fair balance.
everyone.
Yeah. In giving up jobs to the ones that you've said
Mm-hmm.
that are like best for the job,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's actually something
Mm-hmm.
agencies should
Mm-hmm.
actually look into, not who they know, but not what they know.
Absolutely, man.
So it's not about who you know, but
Mhm.
what they know. That's what's the most important thing.
Yeah, man.
And that is what makes institutions grow into a bigger scale production
Thank you.
because they know what they're doing.
Thank you.
But then that is why many institutions in this country are failing.
No, it
Because
makes
it's
the
the
job
people,
easier.
yeah, it's the people that they know that like the job, but they don't know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes what happens is that there are only few people that knows what they're doing in the job,
Mm-hmm.
and then all the workload would be on those people because they know what they're doing, and the few are just hanging around.
Yeah,
And then
because
and then
there's everything. Everyone is good. Everyone, there's something that you are good at.
yes,
If you end up due to frustration, you ended up settling for something less, which you are not good at. You are not doing yourself a favor.
yeah,
You also give job to people that are not very productive. You are not doing them a favor, and you are not doing the country a
a
favor.
favor,
You
definitely.
understand?
Mhm.
That's why they say there should be that balance whereby you will do the right thing in order to get the things right.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
very right.
yeah,
And the last question for you,
yeah,
and then and I know this episode will be about to end very soon. And
yeah.
the last questions to you.
Yeah. No problem.
Looking back at everything you've
Mm-hmm.
endured, illness,
Mm-hmm.
unemployment,
Mm-hmm.
family pressure,
Mm-hmm.
loss,
Mm-hmm.
and sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
So, what message would you give to young people who are close to giving up on their dreams?
Giving up on their dreams,
Mhm.
man, giving up is not an option. It's not even be an option that you think of.
Mhm.
Like they said, what doesn't kill you always
Which is
makes
stronger.
you stronger.
Yeah.
So there must always be a way out, and there is always a way out.
Mhm.
Believe in yourself. Know that this life you are not in competition with nobody.
Mhm.
Just have a belief, have a direction,
Mhm.
do the right thing. Yes, this question that you ask, sometimes I keep questioning myself. In fact, why all this struggle? Does it worth it? Bro, it's so tough to be honest with you. But then my message to them out there, if you truly have a dream, you have something in mind that you want to achieve, the only way that can help you to get those goals being achieved is to believe in yourself.
So,
Wallahi, it really pays off. You might not know it because of how your current situation is making you feel. But then, give it what they call the benefit of the doubt. Just do what you need to do and leave the rest in the hands of God. You will never regret it because there must come a time that, you must look back and say to yourself, how am I able to come this far? You understand?
yeah.
That is because that can only be possible when you rewire your mindset,
Mm.
to be prepared for whatever comes your way, because they said like like there must be a light at the end of the tunnel. So for you to be able to see light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
you must be prepared to walk through darkness.
Mm.
You understand? Because after darkness, what comes? Is it not light?
Light, definitely.
So in
It's
order
always
for you to
light.
see light, be prepared to walk in the darkness. Even if this means you're gonna walk alone, but have sense of direction. That's what I believe in.
Thank you very much for that answer.
Mhm.
And then it's very inspirational, your
Mhm.
journey from where you started, until now. I mean, and there's still more to your journey as well.
Yeah, man.
But then there are certain parts of somebody's life today.
And like they said, winners never quit and quitters never win.
Never win.
So we
Yeah.
have to make the choice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a winner, that's why I don't
Yeah.
quit.
Mhm.
And I'm not quitting because I'm winning.
So
You understand?
You
Good.
still set the bar high.
Yeah,
That
man.
you want to achieve bigger
Mhm.
things in life.
Right.
And then let me tell you, there are things that you are going through in life at a certain point in time. That is somebody else's dream life.
Yeah, man.
And then that is why it is very important to be very much grateful about everything that you have and whatever that life has thrown at you,
Mhm.
as far as you are not giving up.
No.
You recently graduated
very good.
from the University of the Gambia in Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. What achievement during your university journey are you most proud of today?
Thank you so much. Today, Alhamdulillah, me graduating from University of the Gambia,
Yeah.
and I also as the first graduate in my family at the University of the Gambia.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest things that I achieved in my life,
Yeah.
in my university career.
Yeah.
Also, graduating with strong grades
Yeah.
in the UTG
Yeah.
is also one of my biggest, achievement.
Yeah.
Moreover,
Yeah.
having hands-on experience, both practical and theoretical experience
Yeah.
in university
Yeah.
is also an experience.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest experience, or one of the biggest achievement that I also get from UTG
Yeah.
is my research work.
Yeah.
That's the thesis that I do,
Yeah.
or that I did.
Yeah.
That is the effect of different spacing on the growth and yield of rice.
Yeah.
This was so tedious on me
Yeah.
because I have to travel all the way to Kuntao
Yeah.
to do this practical.
Yeah.
It has been so much difficult on me
Right.
because going to Kuntao is another thing.
Yeah.
The distance, staying there also is another thing. But thanks to Kuntao Agri Center,
Yeah.
that give me the accommodation and of course feeding to be with them.
Yeah.
But it has really been very tedious
Yeah.
because I was doing everything by myself
Yeah.
in order to have a foresight information on what I'm doing. You will see me in those rice fields,
Yeah.
trying to case bats and all those things. Because that area we all know, we often say CRR is a home of rice, and that's very true.
Yeah.
But the amount of bat in at that area
Yeah.
is very high.
Yeah.
One old woman told me that you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
Within a night
Yeah.
or within few hours, bats can complete your field. And I was just having my process was not that I was even less than half a hectare. So and there is somebody who is my neighbor, and that guy failed to come that very day.
Yeah.
They've made a lot of destructions. So I wake up from home as early as 6:30, sometimes 6 o'clock. When I pray for you, like I go there. I can't imagine how dark it used to be
Yeah.
and how cold it used to be.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes all over, and during that period, around that area, I was only rice cultivator around that area.
Right.
Because I was going to come in the way. I know it's only around, but they also have a particular time.
Yeah.
So which means the time I am harvesting my rice,
Yeah.
then some are plowing. So they are not very busy there. So around that area. So then you see me in solo.
Right.
So keeping that research work
Yeah.
was something that is a very big, achievement for me.
Yeah. I mean, looking back to all the challenges you faced and still able to pull off with a very successful grade, that's something to be really proud of.
Definitely.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
So the next question is, as the National Youth Parliamentarian for Ken West constituency, what key issues what key issues affecting young people are you most passionate about addressing?
Thank you very much for asking me this wonderful question.
Yeah.
And please, viewers, let's listen, let's learn.
Attentively, yeah.
Thank you so much. This is one of the questions I'll be waiting for.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, I'm a national youth parliamentarian for my constituency, Kiawe.
Yeah.
We often say, or they often say,
Yeah.
Kia is the hardest part of this country.
Right.
In politics?
Yes. No, that's the belief everybody said.
Oh, yeah.
They said everybody will be like, Kia is right, Kia is right.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So I don't know whether that is why government is denying us from social, But alhamdulillah now,
Yeah.
we are better.
Yeah.
But still now, one of the pressing issues we are facing in our constituency is
Yeah.
skill center.
Skill set.
Yes.
Okay.
Please, skill center, whosoever is listening to me,
Yeah.
if you people can help us with a skill center, this is going to be very, 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 very good. Because this will reduce rural urbanization. We don't want all our youths to be out of there and be income.
Right.
We don't want that. And we have to, Kiang is part of LRR. And LRR consists of two, let's say, two areas, that is Kiang and Gyara. So our people cannot be often moving or migrating from Kiang to Gyara inside of skill centers. Kiang has three consequences. Kiang is west and central. But among these consequences, Kiang West has the largest number of people. When it comes to is the largest consequence in terms of population, landslide, everything. So we really need some of these, amenities. We really need skill center, to be honest. We need that. That is my daydream. And also when it comes to entrepreneurship side, also I always advocate to be. I'm the voice of my people. We are always in search of greener pasture. My people, there are so many dropouts in my area that needs to venture into something. Some will often say they want to venture into entrepreneurship. To be honest, if you have support in those areas also, this is really, 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 really going to be very good. Also in terms of sports, Kiang is a home of sports. We all know Bilal Minde is from Kiang.
Absolutely.
Bilal, the current number 6 in Gambia football squad. It's from Kiang.
Nice.
Kiang West. So we want to definitely venture into. We want our sport to uplift. As I'm speaking, I own an academy called Edible Football Academy. Edible Football Academy is an academy focusing on football while prioritizing education. So these are young kids, and we have two categories. We have under 13 and under 10. I established that in 2026, just of recent. And we are seeking for support, not only that academy, but all other academies in Kiang. We really need support. It would be sad to tell you that some places in Kiang or some football fields in Kiang are still using the wooden poles. Yes,
crossbars and
crossbars with
tie ropes for the crossbar.
yeah. There are people that don't even have. There are football teams in Kiang that don't have a sort of jersey. Training kits. We all know we need all these things. One football academy can be playing with one ball for over. It's very crazy. We need all those things. To be honest, we really need all those things. And also, to be alhamdulillah, educational side, that was one of my policies when I was campaigning for National Youth Parliamentarian or parliamentary election. That was to assist my people to get scholarship opportunity because we have a lot of dropouts. And alhamdulillah, we are receiving supports from organizations like Gambia and all those stuff. Where they are helping our people, particularly those doing agriculture, scholarship and all those things. So we are really happy. But skill center is our major target right now. Whosoever is hearing from me, skill center right now we need that.
She said they need skill
We
center.
need skill center definitely.
Definitely, Kian definitely needs skill centers, and the Ministry of Sports and Education, and then
I guess we also want to acknowledge one thing here. I'm not talking about politics. I'm non-partisan. We all know National Youth Parliament is not working on the government. We are non-partisan. But sometimes I'm a very grateful person. If you do something to me, I like to acknowledge. We also want to acknowledge the Minister of Youth and Sport for recently helping us with a set of jersey and 3 footballs plus some football kicks to an academy that I founded, that is Edible Football Academy. We are not having all those things, and it has been very, very, very difficult for us to get that. But for the first time in the history of our records, he assists us with that. So, and we need a lot of this. There are strong academies, in Canada, in Sankandi, they call it Pico Star, and all those places that are doing very, 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 very well. So all they need is sport. And we all know that for more be pour Cambia na funding ki otema football not na second match wala ka kambana because kabili kontre ko mo nana manta camping da nga bol jebe nyo sabaka that very very peaceful at the field nga gel hani ye bude no matter how game top the game is nga ga ni bele be ko nyo ho and we need peace and stability in this country so sports will not be left behind.
That's great. And I hope anyone that's viewers, hopefully someone is going to hear this and sponsor you guys what you need right now. And we understand that leadership, it often comes with pressure and also criticism. If you're a leader anywhere, you must be ready to face the pressure, and people are always going to criticize you.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain integrity, humility, and purpose while serving in public roles?
Critics, every leader must accept critics,
Yeah.
whether you have been hearing it or not.
Yeah.
You often hear a lot of critics, particularly when it comes to fighting for a person with other people.
Yeah.
I could remember during our national parliamentary election,
Yeah.
we were 5 contenders, and among all those contenders, I was the only female.
Yeah.
So you know how tough it could be.
Yeah.
So we be like, who's holding it, you know? So we be like, this lady may not even get married to our consequences.
Yeah.
So when we voted for her,
Yeah.
all the supports may go to where she will get married to.
Yeah.
So, but those are jokes. But there are a lot of criticisms that we receive.
Yeah.
But I'm a very strong person.
Yeah.
I'm bold enough.
Yeah.
To handle that, problem. There's no iota of doubt that I will not achieve what I want.
Yeah.
Because I'm always working towards what I want. I don't wait.
Yeah.
Like they give me a nickname, Balagaba Jambo. We all know how Balagaba Jambo is. It's an action-oriented person. I don't believe in verbatim. I don't believe in talking. I always want to, build up something that people will see.
Yeah.
Not about showing up, but it's about fulfilling your promises. Because during your campaign, you tell people, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this with the help of God. Even though I always said, Inshallah.
Yeah.
So, and alhamdulillah, we are keeping our policies bit by bit. But keep this come on, we must have to have that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
as a leader that's leading people, that it automatically comes with the job. So you just need to accept it and move forward. So the last question for you, Mami, is looking ahead, what legacy or impact do you hope to leave both in agriculture and in the lives of young people across the country, across the Ghana?
Let's start from the life of agriculture. One of the biggest legacy I want to leave is because my term as an national parliament is 3 years. Parliamentary is 3 years.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest legacy I want to leave in Kiang is to leave a skill center before my time ends.
Inshallah.
Viewers, listen. I want to leave a skill center in my constituency before my time ends.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that our players are also playing at professional levels before my time ends. All those are dreams that I'm having. Lot of dreams.
Yeah.
I want to make sure our youth fly high, and all those things.
Yeah.
So in agriculture, some of the legacies I want to have, because that is going to be a continuation. There's something like time limit.
Yeah.
I will do agriculture for the rest of my life, inshallah.
Yeah.
And I always want to be that person who will inspire a lot of kids that are coming up, and a lot of youth. And I also want to break all those culture of silence, those stereotypes, this is a female, she cannot do this. I am not saying 50-50, but I believe in the contribution that I can make.
Yeah.
And I also want to build the culture of silence, just like I said.
Yeah.
Let people not look low upon people that are studying agriculture.
Yeah.
Last time I made more than because Bongo will do man. That's the concept people have.
Wow.
It is not
bad
true.
concept.
It is not true.
That's a bad concept.
It is not true.
Yeah.
Let's work hard.
Yeah.
Let us not only rely on government. We can all do our part.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agriculture is the most noble, job. I always tell people.
Yeah.
We feed everybody. You are the kings and queens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us not give up. You can do it.
Yeah.
So I'm encouraging all the youth down there that are listening to me to venture into agriculture. I'm really proud of every villages in Kiambu. I'm very, very proud of villages in Sankandi. Today, if you go to Sankandi, you'll find a lot of young farmers that are involved into agriculture that has their own garden. The likes of Musa Yadama, Musa Mabake Basis, commonly called Abuali and all those. They are all doing very fine, very well. If you go to my village, also all other places, youths are definitely involved in agriculture. So I'm really proud of that because in those days, no, like we see it differently. No, in the other local, from farming, atelier, atelier from farming, whether it was your subsistence, but now people are encouraged to, be commercial farmers. Yeah, people are doing very fine.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You are welcome, Paul.
So since this episode has come to an end, but I would like to ask you one last question before we go.
Thank you.
Since I've given you a last question already, but then there's something that comes to my mind. I want to ask you this question: what legacy or impact do you hope to leave after university? Since your role in your positions at the university, that you have people that look up to you at the university, and then you have other people that have to go and succeed your position. And then what legacy would you want to leave behind? at the University of the Gambia. The other people will come and see that this is what Mr. Lamin Sani has achieved and have worked for in the University of the Gambia.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question because leaving a fulfilling legacy or a lasting legacy that not only your kids are going to look up to, but people that you inspired, counts a lot. Especially university is a community that's very big. And a lot of people come there, and then being that selfless servant, you understand, servant leadership to serve the need and the inspiration of the people is something that can, in one way or other, change this life for better. You understand? It's about doing the right thing. For me, I always say to people, service to people is never a losing game. You understand? The
Yeah.
more you serve, the more you find solace in that. You understand? Those are the prerequisites. In order to live a dignified life, you must be selfless when it comes to serving the needs and the aspiration of people. And then in doing that, you have to give your best because you are, like I said, it is not only your children that that are going to be. I want to be like my father, but then we have a generation to inspire because if I can be able to go that far, like I can be able to go above and beyond to do what is needed. A lot of poor people, sons and daughters out there.
Out there.
If we can do it, that will inspire them. You understand? And then also, it is going to be more impactful. For me, those that are in their school, they need to hold their education with both hands. You know. And then also whatever that you are in, like she said, agriculture is one of the ways now. And then I'm very much inspired because I know what she's doing. And then part of my plan also, that's why I also work hard to have a place where I can do farming. It's part of my plan. I already have like 100, in like, for example, 100 by 100 when it goes. So there's a place where my grandfather lived in Jordan. So my plan is also to venture into agriculture. You know what I mean? The best way, to leave a lasting legacy is about what have you left behind that you can be remembered for. And
Exactly.
agriculture is one of it. Not so. Today we are benefiting from a lot of fruit trees. We are benefiting from so many things that were not, planted or done by us. But because of other people did great things, and we are able to benefit from it. That's what they call sustainable development. You understand? We have to impact, do things that will be sustainable, even if we are no more, but we remembered for what we have done for our community. You understand?
Exactly.
Whatever that you are doing, don't think of this present generation. Don't think about yourself. Think about the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least if we can all do our little quota in order to leave this world in a much better way than we found it, I'm not sure those that will come will have to struggle.
No, they will
You
never.
understand? So that's the kind of mindset I have. My life is not for me. You understand? It is for what do I need to do that will give a better life to not just only my kids, but for everyone out
Everyone.
there. You
Yeah.
understand? So that even if I'm no more, there will be like my name will still continue to live. Like she has been mentioning that, but like
Oh,
Jahumpa,
yeah, we
Yeah,
don't buy
where
it.
is
exactly.
he now? You understand?
Yeah.
And
The
then
name still lives.
the people great name you when we remember you will be like may your soul rest in peace, but then still their legacy remains. You understand? Not because of what they said, but because of their accomplishment before they answer to the call of the Almighty, what they were able to succeed in doing.
Yeah.
You understand? You are more remembered for the impact that you make than what you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite resilient,
Thank you.
and then it's very motivating, and then I hope that, I mean, everybody lived up on something good and then have a legacy that your name will be remembered for. And Mami and Lamin, and then that would be very great. Mami lived her life for other people on agriculture. She did this. She brought these things to the Gambia, where now agriculturists are actually putting into practice.
Yeah.
And this is what Lamin did. And this is what he left behind. And this is what the young people are actually doing today because he was the father. And Mami was the mother of this, which is quite resilient. And then we thank you all for being here with us today
Yeah.
on this episode. It's been an honor in having you guys. And I mean, it's just amazing having received the call and then answered the call.
Yeah.
And we are very grateful to you guys. Thank you.
welcome.
Just to add to what my brother have said, this is a movement that we're making to create awareness across the country. And honestly, the fact that you guys honored our invitation, and also, I feel like when you invite people to your platform and they come, they are not only honoring your invitation. In fact, they believe in what you're doing and they see the vision. So we are very grateful, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have the both of you here today.
Thank you.
Just in case you have any final words, but anything you have to say, you guys are free to go ahead.
Women force. Yeah, women force.
No, male first.
No,
Male lead, please.
there's a women empowerment. You need to empower
Exactly,
women.
you need
Have the
power
force.
empowerment.
No, we also need to respect men.
In order for you to be a
They lead us
gentleman,
in prayers, they lead
Yeah,
us in our compound, so I
yeah.
always say men first.
Oh, men first.
Please
Okay,
come.
then Lamin, the floor is yours.
Please.
Whatever
They
you
are
have
the
to say.
leaders, we are the followers.
yeah, thank you so much, viewers, those that are following this program. It's a pleasure that we young people to be given platform to be able to share what is best for not just for themselves but for the country, because you never know who you are impacting out there. Youths need to take responsibility. Youth needs to have dialogue. Dialogue is key. You
Yeah.
understand? Through dialogue, you will find the prerequisites needed in order to effect positive change. Like when you look at what mommy does, she's an agronomist, agriculturist, and I'm also a development practitioner, social scientist. At some point, our works are kind of interrelated because we also have community engagements because we do so many activities like participatory rural appraisal where you need to go, where you go and have engagement with the community people to learn from them. Since they are more into practical aspect of life, we are doing the theory. So in order to find that balance or connection between the theories we learn in classrooms, we need to learn from those that are doing the practical.
Right.
So that is why you learn best when you learn from the community.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So those that are watching this, we have a nation to build.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself. And even if people count you out, please count yourself in.
Yeah.
See yourself as a winner.
Yeah.
If you can dream it, you can make it.
Yeah.
You understand? So do not limit yourself.
Yeah.
It's not that time now. All what we have is this country.
Yeah.
So we need to step up to do the right thing in order to move our country forward.
Yeah.
And a special thanks to my friend and a brother Kauzu Sedi, Ismail Kamara, like Khalifa Jabi and my family in Misra, Gianakunda, Sanekunda, my wife and children, all my close associates, all those that believe in this dream that I soldier. I wanted to say thank you so much. And to my brother in the US, Jaya Manga, Matt Morris, all those people really contributed a lot on my academic journey. So all I have to say is thank you so much for your support. This is just the beginning. We are not resting anytime soon until and unless we see the change that we have been dreaming of for quite a long time now. I thank you all for your kind attention and for your patience to walk this journey with us. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Alabarka bake viewers. Alhamdulillah. Follow mbe la mi fana tentula mba jeyir bak. Ba telephone enta fana introduce ni media platform riyan. Kana ka ideas ya ni mulu, kalon to be minato. Ani mi telefon mi la message banko ni sama no nyato. Mba tentula mba jeyla mbe M&M media platform fana be do ko bene banko kam be nyaajele. The reason why I'm using local language, I know there are viewers you may be able to. So, if not to bala, if not be make it's very, very, very important because the spotlight that check out, or the spotlight to mother back, more effort men check out, you more talent.
Absolutely.
So you can make this all over wherever you are. You can sit at your comfortable zone and you work in this. So alaba ka come na kuma ko mbita men kan wala mi bam ko fondin jol. Nga kala nga peace maintain magi. Karo ko mara bawa kan. Karo ko no. Yirwa kana wala kono. Nen karo man ta dulato yirwa ko kana. Ani ko da magi abuka yirwa but ko da ba teni. Ina ka fo karo be je. Ni mano be ngalo nana ma je nyala nga ya ta friendly this man. It's been a very smiling. Me anyala every time. You have this confidence to talk to him. Kaya mo wala mati. So ando nga ngin fana mo wana mbe na yo. So ningo ngonyo mo ta konsa kaya for mente. Ang kana nyo kele. But this country belongs to us. And to my youth down there in Kiang. look up to you all. While we're content, you know, while
Exactly.
you know. I'm very much happy can I meet a platform you can express. So mbamu dara nyoy benyam anyamu ta fi anyamu to nyam, you know. So karam ko na go mona fanga ba anga focus back karam because the academy I created nga fe no go nim mem do to school lu wona mbe bon laji adum boys all brothers all football is very nice. We really enjoy football. Football ka na na ball ka do school. Football athlete. It's very important. But ne play no, yeah, karono. You have a very straight path.
Exactly.
So please, anga make so. Training bukatabi. When you have class in the morning, go attend your classes. In the evening, you come and have an exercise. You come and have a train. And I believe all coaches will understand that. Because academic first. You're gonna be a professional player if you don't. We all see what Rashford did. Rashford is a PhD holder today, and most of these international players, you know, these people that they have been to school, they are degree holders, you know. So let's also try and do the same thing. So thank you, everybody. Yeah.
And one last thing, all the viewers, please click and subscribe to M&M Beyond Podcast. You know, this platform is amazing. It's here for the Gambian people, especially for the youths. And then we need to give them our support by subscribing to their channel, you know, listening to their, because they are ready to do what they can to empower and then create awareness among Gambian youth. So the best thing we can offer them is our support by subscribing to their channel, support their program. I think they are really doing amazing. I'm a big fan of them, and I still continue to search. I will continue to follow them, you know, because I'm happy with what they are doing.
Thank you very much for that promotion. Actually, we are very happy that you guys came, and then we had a success in this podcast, and it has come to an end of this podcast. Thank you all, and then follow, like, and share. This has
Butono ni ala di keduka ale mako, you know. Oba di ala nye bakele, you know. Yeah.
All right then.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.